What's up, guys? Noodle Kings here. Today we'll talk about the UFC fight last weekend happens in Abu Dhabi Fight Island. UFC 267. There's a welterweight event called Chimaev versus Li Jingliang. A lot of you guys watch this fight may wondering how the fuck Chimaev Khamzat is so good to dominate a dude like in welterweight division, top 15 guys like lifting up like a baby, do all these easy smashing things. So I'm gonna break it down to part to explain how this thing can happen in UFC 267. So firstly, we have to remember that Khamzat Chimaev, he is actually a very, very good world-level athlete. He's probably much more better than you expected, as he would be just based on his past three fights in UFC last year. We saw he against Mearshart, John Phillips, Reese McKee. All we're wondering is all these low-level guys, they don't have wrestling. They don't even know how to defend a basic MMA takedown in the ring, in the octagon. But it's not totally correct. All these MMA fighters, they have takedown defense. They have basic sprawl, basic takedown defense. But Khamzat is just another level. If we watch this fight, we thought, maybe Li Jingliang, this Leech, this contender, he maybe has a possibility to stop the hype train. But in fact, this event just shocked all of us. First, I would say Khamzat has a world-level athlete of wrestling skills to make his hype train to be unstoppable for most of the UFC fighters. Doesn't matter what level they are, if they're top 5, top 10, or even for the champion. This is a tough task to deal with, because wrestling really provides the most effectiveness of dominant performance once you take someone down in the octagon, especially like what he did to the Leech. He lifted him up and quickly took him to the border of the fence, which put in the corner that the Leech can't do much of it since Khamzat took his back. And from there, we know just smashing time. He did the ground and a pound. I trained in All-Star Gym in Sweden. I share the same gym with Khamzat. I saw him, the way he trained there. It is insane. He literally broke so many heavy backs. Did like this deadlifting guys workout, just drop them on the ground and ground and pound them. And Leech is not a normal guy. He's like top 15, very good takedown defense. If I remember correctly, he has done folk-style Chinese wrestling for 2 years since he was 16. But when you compare another world-level wrestler like Khamzat, this is not enough to stop his takedown. Because Khamzat's takedown, he has chain wrestling in his takedown. It's not just one simple step. If he failed, he fails. He just keep changing to other some things. Like he fell, if you look back to the video, we saw Khamzat kind of fell the first double leg, then he suddenly changed the angle to hold Li's waist, to hold him, then basically lift him up, as you see from here. Many of you guys has been thinking, oh, Leech has done something wrong there as well. He shouldn't do like trying to hold Khamzat's neck and drop it down like doing a Koshiguruma situation, like a hip wheel throw from there. Many of you guys think this is the most problem. Leech didn't stop the takedown. But when you Leech in this situation, both of his feet is already off the air. He has no ability to stop that takedown, to do a Koshiguruma or whatsoever in wrestling, to counter this takedown, to grab Khamzat's head. It is just too easy for Khamzat to do a deadlifting movement, to put him on the air and drive the hip train, to put on the ground and smash him. What Leech did was all right. It is just too late to execute the action, because Khamzat is just too good at wrestling. The second thing you guys may concern is how Khamzat choke out a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt in just 1 minute or 2 minutes after he simply took Leech down. Remember, Khamzat is just a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So when you talk about the ground game, wrestling on the top, the guy did wrestling, took him down the top. It is a totally different story when you compare to a normal jiu-jitsu match. I personally train wrestling, freestyle wrestling, and jiu-jitsu as well. So in a jiu-jitsu tournament, you can put the guy, there's no border like the octagon. You can put the guy anywhere you roll with, there's no border. But Khamzat is very smart to pick Leech too close to the cage. That stopped Li rolling. And from there, he just add his wrestling, heavy ground and pound, heavy control on the top, which is pretty much hopeless for the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy. For someone like Khamzat, he did like a Russian wrestling championship when he was a teenager, and he got a bronzer in that level of wrestling in whole of Russia, which can lead him to the next step, which is Olympic level. See, when you have this kind of guy on your top and being a wrestler, Olympic level wrestler, the pressure you're dealing with is incompatible compared to a world level jiu-jitsu submission artist. So I would assume even the Leech is a very good black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's still gonna lose that match because he's dealing a world level wrestler on the top. And Khamzat has a submission game as well. You have to remember. It's just very, very hopeless in this situation that you can't do much. Even you found a much better grappler like Damian Maia or someone else, once his back gave to Khamzat or some high-level wrestler like Khamzat, it's just basically over. The jiu-jitsu can't save him so much to recover the guard in the corner of the octagon. There's not so much space. All the jiu-jitsu game is fighting, which is fighting for the space. To get less space, either less space or more space, to create more space. but there's literally no more space to create when you're close to the cage. Now we come to the last reason I personally think Khamzat did well in this fight and he won. It's due to his aggressiveness. So you don't see many wrestlers doing MMA or UFC. They have such aggressiveness as Khamzat. You got Kamaru Usman, Kobe Covington, a lot of these guys, Justin Gaethje. They don't put much of aggressiveness using their own technique, like using they all have very good wrestling background, but you rarely see these guys. They did the same thing as Khamzat did, just using something his advantage to put crazy 100% of power to dominate his opponent. All of Khamzat's fight in UFC, apart from the mirror shot, he did all the wrestling move at the first moment when the fight starts. Just quickly took someone down and smashed them close to the cage barrier of the octagon. And the same strategy again we just witnessed a few nights ago. So aggressiveness at his world level of wrestling, freestyle wrestling technique, and it's just become like an unstoppable train for most of the UFC guys, and it's like the biggest problem coming up for 2022. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I'm glad to share my common thoughts on this fight, and see you guys next time, and good luck for the Leech in the future.